All right. Hello and welcome back to Content and Conversations Live. I am your host, Ryan Dowdy, and today we are going to talk about one of my very favorite topics, which is sales energy. Sales energy is by far one of my favorite conversations, my favorite things to talk about, and really starts the baseline for content and conversations. So, this is literally episode 2. Whether you're here watching live, you're listening on the podcast. We talked about the sales experience last week, which is really kind of the baseline of everything that we do with our clients, right? It's the how-to of sales and marketing. Well, today I want to talk about the energy of sales and marketing because I would have told you several years ago that the most important part of sales and marketing or being successful in sales and marketing is the tactic, is the strategy, it's that experience that I talked about in episode 1 and that you'll hear me talk about over our time together in the coming weeks and months and years, right? But one of the things that we have to absolutely positively tackle before any strategy in the world is going to work, right? Any strategy in the world is going to work if your energy is aligned. No strategy in the world will work if your energy is not aligned. I'm going to say that for you again. Any strategy in the world will work if your energy is aligned. No strategy in the world will work if your energy is not aligned. And what that basically means is you get to decide as the creator of your reality, how you market your stuff, how you sell your stuff, who buys your stuff. You are creating an operating system, right? Creating an operating system that for you, for your business, for how it works, for how people are going to buy your stuff. You literally get to decide. And I know that that sounds a little weird and a little woo and all of the things, but I have seen it be true over and over and over again. A million different ways that this works, right? So here is what I would like to talk about with sales energy. So I have my notes. I don't often have notes. So you guys are in for a treat today. And I want to walk through it because sales energy comes down to your relationship with 3 things, right? Whether or not you sell stuff on the internet or not, or sell stuff really at all, is going to come down to your relationship to 3 things: your relationship to sales, your relationship to money, and your relationship to what people think. Your relationship to sales, your relationship to money, your relationship to what other people think. That is really what we need to master to create great content, to have powerful conversations that ultimately lead to clients. So let's talk about our relationship to sales. So the first thing I want you to do, and I've given this homework a million times over the years, is if sales feels weird to you, if it feels yucky, if it feels pushy, if you worry about being salesy, if you're not sure, are people going to think that all I want to do is sell my stuff? I'm afraid to connect with new people because I don't want them to think that I just want to sell them something. And I'm afraid to produce too much sales content because what will people think? And all they think is all I want is their money. And you just have this really weird relationship with showing up and selling your stuff. Right. And I want you to know you are not alone. So many people, I mean, that is the majority. So many people are like, I don't know. I don't want people to think this thing about me. Right. Which is why I said the 3 things we need to master is our relationship to sales, money, and what people think about us. Right. But we need to talk about our relationship with sales. Because when you show up as that version of yourself who is afraid to sell anything, people can feel it. And when you show up afraid, you're never going to inspire enough confidence in somebody else to buy something from you, period, end of. If you are afraid to sell your stuff, you will always have a hard time selling your stuff. If you are afraid to ask for money, then you will always have a hard time making money, period, end of. Because when you show up in relationship to sales, is that it's scary? Is that it's bad? Is that something you're doing to someone? It's this way that you're taking advantage of people. You're taking something from people instead of adding value to them, right? So many of us have that relationship to sales, and it's no friggin' wonder that our businesses aren't growing as quickly as we would like, or they're stalled, or we've hit some level of revenue plateau, right? We've hit that revenue plateau because that is the dollar amount that felt safe to sell, and anything past that feels a certain way. Enter whatever your feeling is now, but that feeling is based and rooted in fear. And when you come from a place of fear, when you are rooted in fear, you are not going to get a favorable response. Doesn't matter what you're doing. So the first thing we have to do is really shift our relationship to sales. So my favorite is selling is serving, is selling is helping. Those are my 2 favorite. Selling is helping and selling and serving. Every single time I make an invitation to someone to buy my stuff, I am serving the hell out of them and I'm helping them get the result that they get from working with me. So of course I have to show up and sell all of the time because I love to serve and I love to help. I love to get my clients amazing results. So every time I show up to sell, because my relationship with sales is this is the only way I can do this. I can only serve you. I can only help you. I can only get you the thing that you want by selling this thing to you, because unfortunately I cannot give it to you for free. I can't give it to you for free. Right. But if I sell this thing to you, I can get you where you want to go. And so to me, it is just this giant act of service to sell all of the friggin' time. I like to sell all of the time because I like to serve people all the time and I like to help people all the time. So my relationship to sales is, of course, people love my sales content. Of course, they love hearing from me. Of course, they're excited when I reach out to them and I invite them into our world and I offer them, hey, do you want to come to our one of events? Do you want to, attend one of our workshops? Do you want to listen to our podcast? Do you want to download these conversation starters? Of course, everybody wants those things because they want to be helped. They want the results. And that energy in and of itself has allowed me to make millions and millions and millions of dollars over my 20 plus year sales career, because I believe that when I sell things to people, their world is better. So my relationship to sales is, of course, yes, yes. And if you can show up in that same yes energy, I promise you more people will buy your stuff. I promise. So the first piece of homework I'm going to give you is I want you to understand what is your current relationship to sales. What I like to do is write it on the top of a piece of paper, sales, and write down all the stuff that comes up without judgment. Get all the yucky out, pushy, sleazy, salesy, slimy, greedy, gross, yucky, uncomfortable, painful, judgment, rejection, right? Get it all out on paper. What do you think about sales? What is your current relationship to sales? And then I need you to shift into that. I need you to shift into, okay, what do I want my relationship to sales to be? And I want you to make that list, right? I want it to be about service. I want to help people. I want to feel empowered. I want to empower people. I want sales to be the most easy, natural thing I do in my business because it is the way that I get to do the things that I really love to do. And so whether you are an entrepreneur listening to this or you are on somebody's team, this is the energy that you have to bring to sales, because when you get into that fearful rejection energy, you are getting fearful rejection energy back, period. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing that I need you to work on is your relationship to money, right? Our relationship to money. So often we think that our fear of sales has to do with like that fear of rejection and some of those other things, but oftentimes it has to do with our relationship with money. How do we feel about money? How are we in relationship with money? Right? How are we in a relationship with money? And that is really what we need to think about. What do people think of money? When you think that money is hard to come by, that money is hard to make, that I have to work really hard to make money, that money is a struggle, right? Do you see how you're having a hard time marketing your stuff and selling your stuff if you feel that way about money? Because ultimately, sales is the exchange of a product or service and money. So if I have to market my stuff and I have to sell my stuff, I have to give you this money, right? You have to give me money to make that happen. And then if my relationship with money is broken, then I'm having a hard time showing up powerfully and saying, yes, I charge XYZ for my stuff. It's actually why most entrepreneurs undercharge. They think it's going to be easier to sell if they sell it for less because they have an effed up relationship with money. Well, not everybody has an effed up relationship with money. So not everybody wants to buy your cheap stuff. In fact, I never like to buy cheap stuff, ever. The cheapest option is never an option for me because in my experience, the cheapest option is usually the lowest quality option. Is that true? No, but that's my experience. So I'm always willing to buy. Like if you give me 3 options, I'm buying the middle all day long, right? Because I don't want the cheapest option. The cheapest option is shit, right? And maybe I don't need to swing for the fences. I don't need the luxury option. I want the middle option. I want a damn good option. I want the result that I want, right? But we all have a relationship with money about how we feel about being paid for our services, and our level of comfort with being paid for our services is 110% going to dictate how much we get paid, how much money we can actually make. So not only do we have to figure out like actually the sales piece of like selling our stuff, putting ourselves up there, asking people, then we have to deal with what does it feel like to receive? What does that feel like to receive? What does it feel like when somebody pays you for something that comes really easily to you, right? This is when I see it specifically women business owners struggle with the most, is something comes so easy to you. It's so natural to you. You could do it with your eyes closed. You can do it in your sleep. And because of that, you're like, can I charge a shit ton of money for something that I can do in my sleep? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, right? One thing that people ask me all of the time, like I am really good at words. I can always tell you exactly what to say. I can tell you how to sell your stuff. I can look at it. I need like 4 minutes with you and I can literally spit out your entire sales and marketing plan. I just did it on Friday over lunch. Right? Tell me where you're at. Tell me where I want to go. Tell me what feels good to you. And I can spit it out. It's something that I am really fantastic at. And I tell you this only because that comes so easily to me that I sometimes struggle with charging because of course I can just give this to you over lunch, right? It takes me no time at all. And I like you and I want to have lunch with you. So of course I can just give this to you for free, right? So we all have that thing. We're like, oh, it just comes so easily to me. But what I sometimes forget, and this is just as much for me as it is for you, is that, but when I give people million dollar ideas and million-dollar plans over lunch, I shortchange both of us over understanding the exchange of money and the importance of the exchange of money and how money is value, right? So we really need to, in order to be able to create great content, have great conversations, sell our stuff, we have to have a really strong relationship with money and really understand that our inherent worthiness as humans has nothing to do with the amount of money our businesses make, right? But also understand that it is okay to charge a premium for the things that we are really good at, even if they come really easily to us, even if somebody else is selling them cheaper, even if there's another way for things to get done, even if somebody else is doing exactly what you were doing, you can still get paid for what you do because your energy is what energy you're putting out is the energy that's coming back in, right? So in order to really lean into this and for this to come together, we have to, really get good at relationships. So I'm going to have you do the same homework assignment for money as you do as sales, right? So put money on the top of a piece of paper. How do you feel about money? Is it hard to come by? Does it not grow on trees? Do you have to work hard for it? Do you have to struggle for it? Do you have to constantly discount your prices to get, nobody has any money? Everybody you attract is broke. Who's possibly going to afford this? Who's going to pay me for this? I've been told over and over again, it's too expensive. This guy over there is charging cheaper or charging less, right? Like, what is your relationship to money? And then you need to decide on purpose, what do I want my relationship with money to be? I want money to come to me easily. I want to get paid every single day. I want money to be obsessed with me. I want people to love giving me money. I want money to be able to live to the mission of my business. I want money to be able to pay more employees. I love having money. I love getting paid for what I am good at because God gave me these gifts. And so of course I should be paid for them, because when I am well paid, I can be the best version of myself. I can show up powerfully. I can serve more people. I can help more people. I can provide a better life for my family, provide a better life for my employees, provide a better life for the clients that we get to work with, right? So we get to decide on purpose what we want that relationship to be. And then the final thing to really focus on our sales energy is we have to work on a relationship with what other people think, right? Because all of this, the fear of sales, the fear of money, so often comes back to, what will other people think? What will other people think when I show up on social media and sell my stuff all the time? What will other people think when I send them a DM on social media to try to invite them into my world? What will other people think when I'm charging double what that guy is charging? Right? That is ultimately our biggest challenge with sales, is not actually the relationship to sales and the relationship to money, but the relationship to worrying about what other people think. We give so much of our power away. We give so much of our power away by worrying what other people think. Because that fear of judgment, right? We take that and we put it in our sweet little hearts and we carry it around, and heaven forbid we be disliked. Heaven forbid somebody sees us as greedy. Heaven forbid somebody sees us as salesy. Heaven forbid people hate the content that we put out into the world, right? But really, at the end of the day, why does that even matter? Why does that even matter? And I mean, there's some deep-rooted trauma, big T trauma, little T trauma inside of all of us. But that in and of itself, I think, holds more entrepreneurs back from making hundreds of thousands and millions and millions and millions of dollars, is because the number of times that you have to put yourself out there for judgment is so great. And the number of times you will actually fail is also great, that we just take our toys and go home. We never sell our shit. We never raise our prices. We never ask for enough money, because we're so scared of all the steps that it has to take to get to where we want to go. We're so terrified of those steps and what people will think of us if we take those steps, that we don't do them. And then we say, I tried and it didn't work. I was posting on social media for a little while, but nobody reached out to me, so I stopped. I DM'd 4 or 5 people and it just didn't work out for me very well. I don't think it's Facebook. I think my audience is probably over on LinkedIn. I think maybe they're on Instagram. I don't really know, right? And we tell ourselves these stories, but all of these stories are rooted in the fear of, what will people think if I continue showing up every single day as powerfully as I want to and as I need to? What will people think if I am selling my stuff every single day? But the fun, trippy, weird part of this is, so often the fear of what other people will think is a mirror of what we think, right? There's a part of us that feels salesy. There's a part of us that feels greedy. There's a part of us is like, nobody wants to hear from me again, right? Gosh, I've reached out to that person 5 or 6 times. They didn't buy anything, so they probably don't want anything, right? Right? Because we're so worried about what people think. And then what we're worried about other people think, we actually think of ourselves. And then we go on this weird, wild, journey of self-sabotaging and torpedoing all of our success when it comes to sales and marketing, right? Which is why I said at the very beginning of this episode here today is that, our ability to manage this matters way more than our ability to come up with a strategy that works, because every single strategy works if you're in alignment with it. And no strategy will work if you're not in alignment with it, which means if you have an effed up relationship with sales, if your relationship with money is broken, if your relationship with other people keeps you in so much fear that you don't take action, it doesn't matter how effing good the strategy is. And I am a strategist by trade. Like, I can give you a strategy with my eyes closed while I'm sleeping. You can wake me up out of a dead sleep, ask me a question, I will give it to you, and it will be good, and it will make you millions of dollars, right? But it doesn't matter if you're like, oh gosh, right, I can't charge that much. What are my friends and family going to think if all I talk about on social media is my business? What if people don't like me when I try to sell them stuff? What if, I start losing followers because I sell too often? What if I make that person mad when I call them out on their bullshit in a sales conversation? What if, what if, what if, what if? And we what if our way out of any possible chance of anything being able to be successful, right? So in order for us to put out amazing content that people love, that really covers what we call the 4 C's of marketing, which we'll talk about next week, right? In order for us to have really powerful conversations that actually convert people into buyers, we have to fix this sales energy, because this is actually part of the reason why we don't market ourselves as an appointment setting agency, even though the work we do with Connect Chat spends a lot of times in the DMs and getting us into more conversations, is because I can book you 1 million sales calls, but if you don't believe in your stuff, you're never going to sell anything. And then you're going to come back and you're going to tell me, Ryan, I booked you. These sales calls sucked. These leads sucked, right? But really the truth of the matter was you didn't energetically show up in the power of a person who expects people to say yes to them, who loves charging money, and who gives no shits if you don't like them because you call them on their bullshit. When you show up like that person, you're going to get a yes. It's inevitable. But most of us are showing up in the fear of judgment. And that is what is keeping us stuck. So, final piece of homework. What is your relationship to what people think? How do you want to feel about what people think? And then it is your job, day in and day out, to focus on, how do I become the person who has an amazing relationship with sales? How do I become the person who has an amazing relationship with money? How do I become the person who has an amazing relationship with not giving a shit about what other people think? Because when you become that version of yourself, then you can find the strategy that is aligned, right? Because you are showing up as the type of person who's actually going to make money, who's actually going to ask for the sale, who's actually going to put yourself out there for judgment because you don't care about what people think of you. And when you are able to do that, the sky is the limit of what you are able to accomplish. And as an agency, we want to partner with you to make that happen. But I cannot, as an agency owner, as a person responsible for getting our clients results, we cannot partner with anyone. We cannot partner with anybody who isn't in alignment here, because I can't help you get results if you don't think you're going to get results. I can't help you sell stuff if you're not going to show up and powerfully sell it. I can't help you make sure that all your social media content is as bold and as fierce and as powerful as it needs to be if you're worried what people think you will post it. I can't do that for you. Right? So understanding your sales energy, your relationship with the things inside of your business that allow you to create great content and have powerful conversations that actually result in sales, all comes back to you managing the energy inside of you. And what's really exciting about that is this puts you in the driver's seat. You are in complete and total control. You get to decide, how does this work out for me? You get to decide, how much do I love sales? How much do I love money? How little do I care what people think of me? You get to decide that. So you're not at the mercy. So many people are like, we're at the mercy of the algorithm, and we're at the mercy of the economy, and we're at the mercy of that people's budget, or we're at the mercy of those. No, my friend, you are at the mercy of you. You are at the mercy of you and your limited beliefs as it relates to sales, money, and what people think. And when you master that, there is nothing that will stop you. Thank you guys for being here for Content and Conversations. I really love this stuff. Obviously, next week, I'm going to talk to you about the 4 C's of relationship marketing, of connection marketing and what that really means. We're going to get into some tangible stuff. As I shared with you in our first episode, we're going to bounce back and forth between energy and tangible and energy and tangible, but it felt really important for me to tell you that the sales energy, it is the thing, right? It is the thing. It is the difference between success and failure. And I hope you hear this with as much love as it intended, and I'll see y'all next week.